is Monday, February 19th, 2018. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And today we are going to be starting off the show, at least starting off, if not running the whole darn thing. I don't know exactly how long he intends to stay on, but we are going to be starting off with the master behind Adosia. And I believe we did talk a little bit about that last week. I think we covered the white paper either last week or the week before. And that's posted up on my YouTube channel in case you have missed that. And so we'll, Anyway, it was a very, very, very productive get your ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Monday. I mean, really productive. I mean, very productive. I got my very, very, very first triangle choke. It was very unusual. I wasn't anticipating it. I just had my leg up over the guy's shoulder and I said, it's a triangle opportunity. And so I managed to hook my leg up over my foot there and just clamp that puppy down. And then I brought him down and then I snugged him up and turned him red. It's a rarity that I get any kind of submissions at all in class, and so it was a rare pleasure. I don't know. I think I am starting to get somewhere in my jiu-jitsu. I mean, I'm still completely fucking clueless while I'm out there, but I'm starting to feel where I need to be defending myself. Where the attack is coming in. And what kind of hip shifting and what kind of weight shifting is going on? What kind of grips are the presets for it? What's the setup? And I think that's kind of aggravating my sparring partners a little more. And that's what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm not supposed to make them happy. I'm supposed to make them very, very sad, unhappy, frustrated, and then choked. Oh man, I'm just very excited because it's like I do put a lot of time into my jiu-jitsu. It doesn't feel like it for me, and I'm sure a lot of the people that I work with, just because I'm not actually in the dojo itself, but outside of the dojo, a lot of the things I do center around jiu-jitsu. And I mean, I think I've characterized doing jiu-jitsu as being kind of like a mind virus. After a while, it starts incorporating itself into everything you do. It's like there's like parts of your mind that used to do things a certain way, and it wasn't necessarily the most efficient way, but it got it done, right? And then all of a sudden, here's this jiu-jitsu variant of it that kind of like sneaks in there and says, oh, hey, if you do this way, I'm a little more efficient. You'll be able to put a little more pressure here, and you won't have to move as fast there, and, so on and so forth. After a while, it starts getting into everything, Like, I was going down to the rocks the other day. I was fishing with the old man, and there's these really, really big rocks that I had to navigate to get down to the shoreline. And rather than approaching it like a path, I approached it like it was the mat, and I was like crawling on the mat. It's like I put a hand up and I grabbed onto one rock and I pulled myself up to that, and I had my foot like it was on somebody's hip, about hip level. Like if I was to be trying to pull guard. If I wanted to try and pull guard on somebody, I would, put my, or jump guard rather, or something to that effect. Put my foot on their hip while I had my hand up to maybe around the back of their collar, And so I'm pushing off the hip, and I'm grabbing over the collar, and I'm pulling myself into them to, maybe get an underhook on the other side, slide my hip over, and get him into an armbar. But anyway, at least 3/4 of what I just described as far as movements, I'm doing that on the rock to navigate my way down to the water. And that's what I'm saying with you know, it infects everything you do. You know, it's like everything you do, like, can be a little bit of jiu-jitsu. And I'm not the first person to actually say this. It was somebody else. I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was like Helio Gracie or something like that. That it's like it's life. You know, that after a while, like, jiu-jitsu becomes life. Anyway, with that, we are going to go ahead and bust into our first dance. And then we will do our music break, and then we will be talking to Mr. Adosia Tech. I'm not entirely certain how he wants me to address him, you know, or what by what name he'd like me to address him on the show, but we'll figure it out. Pardon me there. You know, I haven't played Marilyn Manson in forever, and there's one song on this album that I love more than any other, and so here it is. The Beautiful People, First Dance, here on Coin Metal. And that was Slayer with Deviants. And so I have with me here the prime tech, or prime guy behind Adosia. And so here you are, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing very well, and yourself?
Good. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure, sir. I've heard and read a little bit about you, or your product at least, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, sure, yeah. You know, I'm kind of a startup junkie in a way, but not so much in the sense where I've always been chasing, you know, VC. You know, I always kind of wanted to position myself to really do something, I would say meaningful, you know, in a sense. And so I kind of went out on this path of just learning, right, and just kind of better myself, put myself in a position. And, you know, my background.
You're breaking up a little bit, dude.
Is that better?
A little bit, yeah, go for it.
Okay, yeah, so my background is, you know, I'm from the East Coast, North Carolina, and, you know, I left when I was 18 to go to school, Arizona State, and I managed to finish with a degree in electrical engineering. And right out of school, instead of going to work for an engineering firm, what I ended up doing was I ended up working for a manufacturer's representative, which is basically a company, you know, it's a firm that represents semiconductor manufacturers firm, or at least that's the field I was in. So I represented Intel and about 9 or 10 other semiconductor manufacturers with territorial exclusivities, in a sense where I was handling entire or facilitating sales engagements as well as technical support. So it was a really cool kind of position to be, you know, facilitating engagements between companies building.
You're breaking up again.
Sorry, I said between companies building extremely sophisticated software and hardware, and knowing these engineers and their capabilities, and then, you know, helping them with their technical issues and whatnot, and facilitating, you know, and then understanding the factory side, because a lot of it was looking at architectures and what the hardware was doing and kind of saying, okay, well, how can I get my hardware into your design? So that provided, you know, a couple benefits to where I'm at today, you know, in the sense of being able to understand, you know, engineers' capabilities, specifically in specialties in certain markets, which is extremely valuable. And more so, you know, with what I'm doing with the IoT stuff at Adosia is kind of, you know, architecting, you know, in my own sense, you know, because that's a lot of the stuff we're doing out here. So that knowledge there first, you know, it's basically a deal where you go and you get your semiconductor get designed and designs, and when it goes into production, you make a lot of money.
Kyle?
Yes?
I was really having a lot of trouble hearing you toward the end there. Are you, like, moving your device?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I was having a little bit of trouble there. So basically you're saying that you were positioned as a as a representative for several semiconductor groups, and you're in that threshold between like hardware and software as far as the actual.
Well, yeah. So when an engineer builds hardware, they've got to source all their components. So yeah. Basically, what I was doing was trying to position my components at an architectural level. So it was a really technical play.
Right.
I'm talking to engineers saying, "Hey, what are you building?" Trying to map it out, saying, "Okay," and then obviously it's a long sales cycle. But it was an interesting aspect in that sense. But long story short, I got to the point where I said, "Okay, I need to build my own products," and that's when I kind of got out of that, and I found Adosia.
Oh, okay. And so I've seen some of the devices in the presentation material, specifically the grow pods. Those kind of interested me. The Blueponics.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like what level of involvement do you have with that project?
Well, yeah. I mean, everything. So. So moving in to what Adosia was, it started out with an ad tech business, and then basically what Blueponics was a result of a pivot. So I got into semiconductors 10 years late. I got into ad tech probably about 3 years late. And what I mean by that is as far as to really steer the innovation and to leverage it, and it was stale. So I got to a point where I said, okay, I really want to do something. And that's what I meant, but I've kind of been out here just kind of waiting for my set as an entrepreneur. So the Blueponics stuff, I started to go back to my roots. And when I got out of school, it was so expensive to spend hardware. Mm-hmm. And so, I just started tinkering it. And, I built a little prototype, and it's ugly as hell, with a prototype board, and I'm manually doing the traces, and then it ended up working out, and so I started spinning up boards, and
you're breaking up again.
I built Adosia from the ground up. I had this huge background in internet, back end, and just being able to make that whole side of it work. So as I tied that together with the software or the hardware side of it, it just started to make sense that it's like, oh wow, there's so much cool stuff we could do here. So I kind of just took a step back from the ad tech side of it, at least, about 80%, and put a lot of focus into the whole aspect.
Well, now you've mentioned ad tech a couple times. What exactly were you doing in ad tech, or could you describe that for us at least?
Well, yeah. So I first started making money with Adosia, and that's what this is all about, right? How we're going to earn revenue,
right?
And so I first started earning with Adosia. What I ended up doing is I started creating technologies that websites with traffic could use to increase the revenue they got from their ads. So you started seeing these adhesive ads and these sticky ads and things like that. Well, I started building things that would, be real creative with how ads scrolled and load new ads in certain areas, and just responsibly create viewable inventory in a way. But long story short, it's a nice residual.
I'm sorry, what? It's a what?
It's a nice residual revenue stream. So that piece of it, we want to expand on down the road with blockchain. It's just our whole strategy is we want to leverage the ecosystem with the technology available today, and stuff with ads and transactions and all that stuff. You need to measure all that. You need to really have a foundation that can support some good and solid transaction volumes. And that's going to come with a third-party cryptocurrency. So that's kind of something we're looking at down the road too, with some of the other stuff that in our white paper, the latter stuff, as far as the educational stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, with regard to the Blueponics and the IoT, I mean, like, how does that tie in with ad tech?
So it's interesting. So part of the early stages of ad tech is that we're using it for kind of to create a little bit of liquidity. So we're going to pay out publishers early on, and what that does is, that helps get a little liquidity in the token. But as far as with ad tech and IoT, it really is unrelated at this stage.
Oh, okay.
So at this stage, but what we're doing is we're trying to create a lot of value for the token. For us, for me to come here and say, "Oh, I'm gonna build the best new ad tech company on blockchain," I think I'd be full of crap. I think I would. No, I'm serious. No, I mean, like, I'm not going to bullshit you. I mean, you look at what's available today, and CryptoKitties broke Ethereum. CryptoKitties trashed Ethereum, and you're going to tell me I'm going to roll out a ERC20 token or whatever, or make some advancement because I hired a team and I don't know shit about it. You know, I mean...
Yeah, I know. It's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, everybody's betting on Friendster, and it's okay. It's cool, you know. But yeah, no. So, but it is part of the strategy, and the honest answer is, so when third generation crypto comes, there's going to be some that are founded on crap, and there's going to be some that are the real deal, right? And so our plan is to not create lightning, but we're sure as hell going to ride it, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, I understand that one, that you're not necessarily trying to reinvent the wheel, but you want to ride in the vehicle they build on top of it.
Right. So to answer your question, the IoT stuff, it says, oh, wow, that's something we can do right now. Because, you know, you look at the payment model for that, and that's something I can bill monthly or annually. You see what I'm saying? For connectivity versus something that I've got to be falling on transactions.
Well, now, one thing I wanted to touch back on specifically is because I grow.
Okay.
Sure. Is the Blueponics. Now, you actually have operational models of that right now, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we've got... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Those are actually, like, retail items right now, or...
Well, no, we're not selling them right now. What we're going to do is we're going to launch them when we deliver tokens. They're going to launch the day we deliver tokens. So I've got working models and working prototypes, and what's interesting is we're not just trying to say, oh, I've got a little product here, go play with it. What the IoT initiative is, you know, we architect, we don't program, right? So we look at how do we build software so we can use it, reuse it, right, and do it in a way that is useful. And so what we're doing with the IoT stuff is we're going to be able to roll boards.
I'm sorry, what was that? You're breaking.
We're going to be able to roll boards and add new hardware very, very quickly just by how we set up the architecture. So we're going to, you know, we have an architecture that supports hardware boards and components, and you can assign components to boards and define the pins, and it's an extremely interesting back-end setup that enables just this complete control that obviously we're going to work with and lead with on Blueponics. And we're going to develop a lot of stuff for that. So, I mean, I'm happy to dive into anything specific on that. Just, yeah, I'm an open book. Ask me what you want to know.
Oh, yeah. And well, you know, the Blueponics, it interests me because I see in it that you have like a computer basically on each plant, and that you could be monitoring all kinds of things like the pH balance of the water, the nutrient levels, and so on and so forth. And you could be really monitoring your plants a bit more, as far as I can tell. I mean, I don't know the whole layout of the Blueponics thing, but...
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of inaccurate. You know, I don't want to throw things out there. So Blueponics in itself isn't going to give you the ability to monitor pH or nutrients at this point. Now, those sensors are they're rather expensive, and so to keep a cost model down to ship it in a consumer realm. Now, what you would be able to do is to potentially set up a system where you time release nutrients, right? You could set up digital IO to valves and things like that, and that's things we could work on. But to take it a couple steps back, you know, what we want to do with the community is we want to hear all the feedback and incorporate it into future design. So what Blueponics is this particular model or board we're using has one analog input. So I think it's a little... might be able to pH, but I've got to look into pH and nutrients.
You're breaking up, dude. I can hardly hear you.
I said I know pH and nutrients aren't something that we can. We're not going to roll out onto the first model, but what we are going to do is, I think water measurement, or not water measurement, but there'll be water level switch sensors. There will be triggering, so you can tie triggers to components. You'll have multiple pump control, and custom digital I/O.
Well, now, how else do the devices? Well, what is the function of the device in total? You're saying just you'll be able to do water levels and so on, but what other capabilities do you see the devices as having, or which ones do they have right now?
Well, it's more so in what you can do with them. So we're looking at it from a perspective of, what can this device support, right? And then, so we've got more models coming out that do different things and can support different things. So, for example, for this board, we'll have a temperature sensor, right? We may not launch it with software support, but we'll probably add it a week or two later. Right. Things like that. So, so this one, I think you can have, a temperature sensor, a water level sensor, maybe another water level sensor if you don't want a temperature sensor, right? You could have water pump, air pump. So you can have different.
I'm sorry, I could hardly hear you toward the end there.
Yeah, sorry. So you can have a lot of different hardware configurations, but the cool stuff is what you can do with the software. So on the software side of it, just to give you an example, you could. The easiest situation is you could have something send you a text message when your reservoir is up. That's the simplification, right? The most complicated implementation is you could, if you wanted to, you could tie a motion sensor onto digital input.
Was that an O2 sensor you said?
A motion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, motion sensor, and you could send a text if you got a breach in a certain area, or what you could do is you could have if you wanted to, if you were a parent, you could take a Blueponic system, and I know this is crazy and not relevant straight to growing, but this is just how I'm giving examples how creative you could get with the system. You could take a Blueponic system and set it to, if it detects motion between 2 and 4 a.m. to 3 hours later, trigger a relay that blasts the radio, and you've effectively punished your teenager for sneaking out. You do all kinds of crazy stuff with this stuff. So, but yeah, the goal is to really tackle the market of personal cultivation. I'm not going for the growers that are, at least not right now. The growers that are growing 10, 15 plants or whatever that are trying to really, produce. I'm going for the people who want to produce 1, 2, 3, at least with the first model, base model. That's part of the story. Individuals that don't want to pay premium, don't want to pay the taxes, and just want to have a couple plants around and basically take care of itself.
Take care of the what?
Just takes care of itself for the most part. And while it won't measure nutrients, you probably want to have a way for that. But the personal individual that just wants to grow a little bit, I don't think they're going to be too. I would say, I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say anal, but towards. Right, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to care about the nutrients as much. They're just going to, as long as it's growing and it's producing something decent, I think they're going to be happy with it. Yeah. So, but obviously that's an area to explore, and I think it makes sense to have a discussion about how we can have those sorts of data interfaces to our system so that they can be available there for you remotely.
Yeah. Well, I look at it this way: if you're going to have things like video feeds and you're going to have computers on them and stuff, that I see all kinds of interesting projects that people have done on with like Raspberries and stuff like that all over YouTube. And so when I see, a device that's actually built specifically for, that's got the kind of interface of like a pot, I start thinking about, all the kinds of things that these other people have done with like Raspies and whatnot, and how that could be tied in with the type of device that you're making already.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's right now we're using open hardware. So what we're doing is we're using Arduino type form factor stuff. I mean, we rewrite our code in the Arduino IDE for the C side of it. And so that part of it lends itself to kind of giving us an edge up in the ecosystem where we can develop sophisticated I/O boards starting out, and that's really the basis for a hobby kit. So we focus on the software, and obviously we've got to do some good hardware development to get the I/O boards where they need to be. But that that's kind of our model, and then we move into spinning.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, and then we move into spinning smaller, more customized. I would say proprietary type, not proprietary, but more I would say non-commercially available.
Right.
Just our own spins of CPU modules. We found, some good silicon that we've been using, and I think I'm excited for what we're going to be able to do. But I think the most important thing is for us to get our initial product out and then get feedback. Because what's cool about it is, as long as we can get the hardware right? Like, think about it like, what hardware do I need to get the job done?
Right.
We can always change the software, and that's the coolest part about it. We can remotely update these things. So it just opens up so many possibilities to where down the road, when it's idle, you can say, I want it to make me money. This guy's solar power, I want him to make me money if he's got extra power. He might be able to do a little mining. And it doesn't make sense to do it with the stuff today because it's too power hungry. But the 3G stuff, that could be, you're going to get much, much more performance per watt out of whatever the algorithm is supposed to accomplish. So you have to see what that revenue looks like. But there's a lot of opportunities there as well. So that's kind of, we think there's an opportunity there, and I think that's what really sets us apart, is that we're coming out the gate with hardware, and we've got plans to create other hardware, and that's really what white paper is. A lot of it is, okay, we've got started, we've got something, but we've got ideas, and, it may sound like a little all over the place, but that white paper is just as much for me as it is for everybody else. So,
right.
I'm getting my ideas all in one spot, but that's important. Startups need to be able to pivot. You've got to be able to see the bullets coming and say, "Shit, this isn't working," and move. And I don't see that with the Bluephonics stuff. I think Bluephonics is going to be insane. And I'm happy if you tell me what your ideal product is, and let's have a serious discussion on what it's going to take to get there. Right.
Right. Oh, well, I'd be more than happy to provide some input on that. Now, it seems to me that there's been some interesting movements within mining. I mean, like, how long have you been involved with crypto? Would you say, or what would you say your first exposure was to crypto?
Well, I mean, I was exposed to it, a while ago, but I wasn't paying attention. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
And then I started paying attention, and my whole world changed. I just stopped. Everything I was doing, I just stopped. And I was blown away. Once I really dug into what we're going to be able to accomplish with blockchain, I mean, I think that it's an opportunity to, well, I mean, yeah, everyone says, what they're here to do and whatnot, but I think it's an opportunity to really contribute something. But it wasn't long. I mean, I would say I made the decision to pivot probably this year. I made the decision to pivot. I was on crypto, year and whatnot, but I promise. Okay, I'm good with it.
So you pivoted this year, you said?
Yeah. I mean, when's my white paper dated? The 18th?
I didn't check, actually, honestly.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I had my first Blueponics hardware in May.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm just like, oh, I'm throwing all this shit together. And, no, like I'm just like, oh well, shit, I could do this, and that makes sense. And I always stayed away from VC because if you look at what VC has done to these companies, they're just monstrous pieces of shit, you know. And
yeah,
and we're at such a unique time, and I just think that, you know, maybe we've got something to contribute.
Well, I definitely think you guys have a good foundation that you're trying to build on. I mean, it seems like you're trying to derive more of your value from what you're doing as opposed to what other people are doing. And, you know, that seems to be with regard to white papers, I was going to add that there are some ICOs that people have thrown millions of dollars at that did not even have a white paper, much less an actual functional product. So, you know, I mean, whether or not your white paper is like, you know, grammatically correct down to the T, you know what? The fact that you are actually willing to commit the ideas to, you know, a demonstration paper of what your plans are, like I said, that puts you a step ahead of some of the ICOs that have already supposedly quote unquote launched, despite the fact they have no product. They just got a bunch of fucking Ethereum tied up for their project, basically.
Right. Well, you know, talk is cheap. And you could take an ICO out of the equation entirely, and I'm still going to do this. You know, I've been doing it this long, and I'm this far, and you know, we're still moving, and it would just be so unbelievable to have an opportunity that, you know, some of these companies are that have, and it blows my mind that they're it's all, you know, just, oh, we may have this one day, and we, you know, it's interesting. It's totally backwards.
Well, you know, I think this is one of those things like the internet where, because there was nothing before us, there is plenty of space for everybody to contribute. You know, the lines haven't been drawn yet. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think I read the title of an article where it was either the SEC or the CFTC was saying that not all ICOs are actually securities. All right, for them to concede to that, it already demonstrates that they're digging a little bit deeper beneath the surface. And so that kind of, it tells me that they're looking to take a more nuanced and actually intelligible approach to this technology, as opposed to just whipping out the band hammer and acting like, you know, this is just like the markets that we had yesterday, and we can treat them the same as the markets that we had back then. And they're starting to understand that really, because we're not talking about IOUs issued by a private bank, we're talking about work that was actually already performed. You know, they're starting to see that those two are different with regard to their nature. You know, with regard to the IOU written by the Federal Reserve, there was no work performed in order to create the value. The abstraction of value was just whipped out of the fucking sky, you know, out of thin air. Whereas in order to get Bitcoin, you actually have to have hardware, and you actually have to have electricity and bandwidth, and have dedicated that to the process of mining before you get the Bitcoin. You know, there's a threshold to entry there that is entirely different than, you know, the Federal Reserve saying, oh, hey, you know, the U.S. government wants another $2 billion. Let's just go ahead and put a couple more zeros on the left-hand side of the decimal place and whip that up for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a brave new world we're in, and it's exciting to see where it's going. And you know, but the government, I don't think they fully understand what they're dealing with right now. And the SEC, you know, I'm not sure how they're going to respond. I don't believe that we're offering a security. We're not, I won't even talk about the value of anything or what, any of that. I'm just trying to build cool hardware that's useful, right? And so, it's we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it pans out. I think I think that things will change here in the near future, and we just want to be able to. That's why I think it's important for us to ensure that hardware.
I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you there.
I think that's why it's important to ensure that Adosia has hardware. When we start selling tokens, so that's kind of
absolutely.
Little insurance policy, I think, just to ensure the fact that this isn't development money for I'm not using that to get what I'm saying,
right? No, I get you there. That that's one of the problems that I've always had with the ICO funding model is that a lot of the time these guys are getting the money without having done the work, and it's really easy to just look at that money and say, I could just fly outside of the extradition of my country and enjoy the $240 million that I've got tied up in Ethereum, or I could hire some developers and try and produce the thing that I promised everybody that I was going to produce for the money that they fronted me. And so, it's kind of obvious which one takes more effort.
Right.
And so it's like, the tendency is to give into the temptation there and just take the money and run.
Oh, no. I hear you. But, I want to do this for at least the next 10 years, right? I want to build hardware. I want to build cool software. That's what I do,
Well, at the very least, have something that somebody is willing to buy or somebody wants to buy. And like I said, I think that's a target that a lot of these groups, they're not even looking at. They're just like, how do we get the money?
Well, yeah, and that's a problem too, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. In my mind, the SEC is really going to look at, obviously, first those that are blatantly scamming, the shit out of people and stealing and that kind of stuff, the BitConnects and.
What do you think of that whole debacle?
I don't know, but Carlos is going to be a meme forever.
BitConnect!
It's a scam!
Oh, well, what about Trayvon? Do you think that guy's safe anywhere on Earth or what?
No, dude. I haven't Googled his name in probably a week or so, but he was in his hotel rooms walking around with his lip quivering and just saying the dumbest shit. Like, I haven't hired a lawyer because this ain't real to me. And this is like, man, dude.
Oh,
you've never been in a lawsuit. It's not fun. It's not a fun situation.
Yeah. Oh, well, if you want something really entertaining, look at my Twitter feed. That I posted a video of this guy, and I said, basically, if this guy's unemployed, the FBI should hire him stat. No warrants, no knock raids, and he made this fucking video of how he tracked down Trayvon, and he tells you the exact hotel that the guy is living in. It's like,
I saw it. He tells everybody where he's at. I didn't see if they found him or anything, but man, well, he's stupid. He's like, come get me. I got my kid here. And it's like, dude, man, like, you don't understand. Like, some people are probably really, really, really fucked and really upset, and I don't know. I think he's got a lot of legal issues.
Well, there are literally more than one class action suit being drawn up and brought to case against BitConnect. So this guy, like I said, I don't think he's safe anywhere on Earth. Everybody knows his face. There's videos of him all over YouTube and everywhere else. So I don't think there's any escaping accountability on this one.
Well, yeah, it just shows us that we're in the Wild West and people are putting their money into some dumb shit. And it's going to get worse in a way. I mean, we're going to see some weird things. And, okay, so the lending platform, that's interesting. All right, we've seen that one. What's the next big scam,
Right.
It's going to... So, I mean, expect it to come. It's going to come. But, I mean, I think that YouTube drama, it's kind of funny. It gives a little character to the whole crypto space. I mean, I don't know if you saw... Superman got a little trash the other night.
Superman?
Superman.
Who's that?
He's a British guy. He's got, probably got 100K plus subscribers, 120, 30K. But he's a crypto guy. It's SUPPOMAN. Yeah, I guess he messed up and double sold a class or did something. I'm not sure. I don't want to get the details, but I don't know if you guys ever seen Doug Polk. He made a video, and he did a nice little rap video of him at the end. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, I think that we have seen probably the weirdest, but the thing that I keep harping on with regard to this is that we are probably better at catching this stuff than any federal organization, and to start relying on the SEC or the FDIC or the CFTC to put their stamp of approval on organizations that are involved in crypto, I think that's a big mistake. I think that, like I said, we were catching BitConnect months before there was any cease and desist, months before there was any subpoenas. There's people saying, these guys are fucking scammers. Do not give them your money. And I mean...
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty clear that the crypto community does have a leg up on that kind of stuff. But when everybody's making money, I mean, what are you going to do to enforce it? I mean, how are they going to be able to... It wasn't the cease and desist that shut them down, right? We know that, right?
No.
So...
from what I understand, their coin is actually still on some exchanges. So I don't know. I think that one has yet to fully rinse out. I mean, if they do some review of the books and they find out some that for whatever reason there is actually the majority of the funds are still viable and accessible, I think that'll make some sort of difference, but not much.
Yeah, I never owned any BitConnect, or I never bought into the platform, so I don't have intimate experience there, thankfully.
Yeah, I avoided it with a definite intention. I mean, but I've been involved so long that, I took one look at it and I'm like, scam.
Right.
These guys break off with a lot of people's money and piss a lot of people off. I don't even want to be associated with it. So, and that's been my general policy with regard to crypto is that, I see some projects that are considered, high level or whatever, that I've read their white paper, and when I start hearing about them having some sort of custodial relationship with accounts in like Zug, Switzerland, or the Isle of Man, or one of these places that are basically like jurisdictional no zones, then I immediately turn off. There's a place in Russia. There's one or two provinces in Russia that are associated like that. If you see them in there, you're just like, okay, yeah, that's like I think it's like Liechtenstein or some shit like that. That if you see it in association with it, you're just like, okay, forget about it, because they're a little more lax on their regulation. I mean, they're swift with the ban hammer, but and honestly, I feel like that's the better way to go about it. It's just that if we are going to act like there are some authorities, then if the product should be able to stand within legitimate jurisdictions, or at least, I don't know what to say, like I guess more credible markets, or at least more scrutinized markets. I don't know how credible scrutiny actually makes a market, but I'm just saying that they be able to endure the same kind of regulatory scrutiny that all of the existing businesses do, if it's at all necessary with regard to their custodial model and so on and so forth.
I see. Yeah.
All right, last one, and then we'll get back on it.
Okay.
Got any subject matter you want to talk about?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, is there anything that's unclear about what I'm doing? Because I mean, I know I'm a little all over the place. So, is there anything?
Well,
maybe we could.
So I mean, like the devices just like mine for you, don't they?
No. So mining's not even there yet, right?
I'm sorry, what?
I said mining's not even part of the equation at this point, right? So.
Oh. Okay. I guess I mistook the.
Yeah. So what the software is going to do at launch is it's going to support, all the functionality you're going to need to create a personal hydroponics or soil-based plant water, right? Okay. And,
you're breaking up.
It's going to be, when we launch the product, it'll support kind of, the ability to create a personal hydroponic system for soil-based, plant watering system with, all the bells and whistles of remote,
Dude, you're breaking up. Like, I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you.
Okay, hold on. Must be a bad connection.
Like I said, it just seemed like you were like waving around the thing that you were talking into or something.
Oh no.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, that is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so what I was saying was, when we launch the product, it'll be able to support everything that a personal, hydroponic system will be able to do with all the hardware, with the Wi-Fi connectivity, the bells and whistles that come with that. And the unique feature it'll also be able to support is remote updates. So, so as these new currencies come to fruition and we learn more about some of the ones that aren't on the market yet, some of the ones that we think are going to be...
Hold on. I want you to stop right there, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about in about a few seconds.
Okay.
No, because, I mean, like, this is exactly what people need to be hearing about your project.
Yep.
And by the way, I'm recording all of this, and so, like,
good.
Yeah. We'll include it.
Yeah.
And so that was Powerman 5000 with When Worlds Collide. And so now I'm here with Kyle Solomon from Adosia. And so now we were talking a little bit during the music break concerning a misconception that I'd had concerning the software functionality with regard to the hardware. And now you were saying it's more for like quick updates and whatnot, correct? And
well, one of the features that we're going to be able to support out the gate is remote update, and that changes the game entirely. So out the gate, the Blueponics Space Hobby Kit will enable anyone to create a personal hydroponic system or soil-based self-watering plant system with Wi-Fi connectivity. We'll soon follow up as cryptocurrencies, third generation, come into fruition.
I'm sorry, what was that?
As third generation cryptocurrencies come into fruition, we're going to look at different mining algorithms that may make sense on lower power hardware, such as these IoT devices. And so what we're looking at doing is giving our hardware users the ability to select basically which algorithms they want their devices to mine. So they wouldn't be mining Adosia tokens, they could mine some other third currency. So with our pricing plan, it gets real interesting. So we can enable mom and pops, but we can also enable entire system integrators. We can create or support entire businesses of, like, let's say someone manages
office buildings.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Let's say someone manages office buildings or plants all in the buildings, right? And they've got to go in and make sure all the plants are watered. You could have 1,000 devices connect to the system, give someone premium prices versus, a handful of devices, and they're running an entire business, and you're letting them know which specific, plants need reservoirs filled and things like that. So, you move from hobby kits to integrators, sub-assemblers and things like that, and you enable other businesses to go and manage, their own businesses based on the product. And there's so much you can do with it, and you're enabling so much creativity. But yeah, so we launch an initial product, and then we provide the ability to have it mined potentially.
I'm sorry, that last part, what was that?
We provide the ability via software update to have that hardware mine at the user's discretion. So theoretically, somebody could, like a plant watering guy, if we could get an algorithm down the road on 3G crypto that is very, good from a performance per watt perspective, and it can generate revenue at relatively low power, which is the whole idea of some of these third-gen cryptos that aren't so power-intensive for transactions.
Right.
And so, and that's kind of the idea, is that maybe, even a third party could have thousands of devices distributed and be generating revenue off of that while also earning subscription revenue. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to enable in a lot of different areas too. So, that's part of, back in the semiconductor days, I got a really good idea how enterprise sales works and sales channels. So that's going to be an asset too. So, I kind of look forward to that.
So, have you been watching the mining space hardware-wise at all?
No, I haven't. And partially because, I'm doing cloud mining personally myself, and the reason I haven't been keeping up with hardware is simply because the algorithms change. Where my head's at and where I'm focused is on third-gen crypto, and Adosia, we're lean and it's small, so I've got to move really, really, really fast. Now, don't get me wrong. If I had, if we have a successful, token sale and product launch, and that works out really well for us, then yeah, there's a lot of areas we're going to look at really, really, really quickly. But at this point, we're kind of just focusing on what we have and trying to align with, banking on the fact that we're going to be able to process algorithms less expensively.
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up there towards the end.
We're banking on the fact that we're going to be able to process mining algorithms less power expensively than we are today.
I see. Yeah, I do see that there is kind of a push to make mining a bit more efficient, and I think that what we're going to see over the next probably 1 to 2 years is we are going to see another major hardware manufacturer start getting into the ASIC game. I've been predicting this for a very long time now, probably about 2 years, that what really is going to push mining is going to be one major manufacturer, be it Motorola, IBM, Intel, any of these guys, Global Foundries, whatever, any one of these guys dedicating a serious amount of capital toward making mining hardware for consumers, that it would only take one of them to do that. And we've always had, too. We've always had a few of the video card manufacturers, NVIDIA specifically, in the background. But it seems like we've needed a bigger one, and we've got that with Samsung now.
What do you mean?
Samsung's going to be making ASICs.
Okay, so for what, big mining rigs? That's their goal?
For consumer mining rigs.
Consumer mining rigs. Okay, so there's I don't even understand what the power details and all that stuff means, but let's take a couple steps back. Intel's the best manufacturer in the world. That's hands down. No question. But I'm saying that I've been predicting for a while that's what's going to make mining take off,
and get, really serious about efficiency and so on and so forth, is going to be a major manufacturer such as Samsung or Motorola or one of these guys getting into it. And we've got it now that Samsung is basically saying that they are going to make ASIC miners. And so that I think that's going to turn the notch up with regard to efficiency and also participation within the mining space.
Well, yeah. I mean, enabling it there will too. But I think if Intel starts looking at this, they're gonna. I would think that if they were looking at this, their play would be to bring it on chip, right? So they've got a dedicated piece of silicon in the chip that's kind of enabling consumer hardware. I mean, if they can potentially do a rev share themselves.
You're breaking up a little bit there.
Oh, I said, if they approached it that way, they might be able to position themselves to capitalize on the rev share part of it. You know what I'm saying? If they integrated it into the chip. So, I mean,
well, I think that's honestly, I think that's the wrong way to go with regard to mining. Only because part of what makes mining valuable is the choice of the person mining. And if that ever becomes obscured or questionable, whether or not all of the hashing power is actually being dedicated to the coin intended, that could draw some lax credibility with regard to the coin. I think Monero is going through that right now, where they're starting to get targeted because they've been pulling this shit where they distributed this fucking Java-based miner that deploys in people's fucking in the background on their browser and ganks their hardware and mines for them without your knowledge.
Yeah, they're delivering it in ads. So all they're doing is they're basically buying an ad campaign on one of the exchanges and just dumping in that code. They're just dumping in the JavaScript code as the ad payload, and it's super easy. And so no, I think that browser-based mining, I kind of mentioned some of that in our white paper, but I took a little while, and I was careful to preface it with ethical, right? And so what is ethical? And I totally agree. The user has to understand that what's happening, and they have to see the value in it, and there has to be value in it. And my thought process there was within some environment where revenue is important, and like for the curriculum example, if you will, or the education example,
I'm sorry, what was that? The curriculum?
Yeah. As far as an education example, right? I had towards the end of the white paper, I was talking a little bit about how we could potentially disrupt education with the right stuff, and so I guess I'm kind of losing my pace here. Not really conveying what I'm trying to say.
No, I go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm just I just don't have the words. I'm just trying to piece it together, and I'm having a total brain fart.
No, I can completely understand that. No, the choice of the consumer and the choice of the miner, like I said, I think that's like paramount.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, you got me back on track. Sorry.
No,
so, I mean, I guess with the education stuff, when you do browser-based mining, like, I'm thinking of that as, okay, as part of a revenue model. So, like, in an education platform where maybe, content's free. Right now, content's free because there's ad revenue tied to it, right? Maybe the consumer doesn't want ad revenue. Maybe the content owner wants to share more in revenue, and mining is more profitable. So there's variables and tweaks and levers there, and it opens up interesting doors when you don't have to rely on a corporate sponsor.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like I said, as long as it's a willing relationship, I think that's going to be the big linchpin for a lot of this tech that we see coming. And it seems like the tendency at this point on the part of some software engineers and some hardware manufacturers is this idea of factoring in a miner that the consumer doesn't even know about, and that while their device is plugged in or whatever, that part of the cycles of that machine, as long as it's turned on, are going to mining for this manufacturer. And I think that's, like I said, I think that's an unfortunate way to go about it, because you'll end up supporting things that you do not support. You know, I mean, like a coin that's going to be mining regardless of how people regard it, that takes all the choice out of it. And so the response I would feel would be, as long as if you find out that its whole revenue model is ganking people's hardware resources and dedicating, you know, you're going to like say, I'm going to dump this thing. I'm not going to buy this thing. Fuck them. You know.
No. I think you use it as an alternative to ad revenue in certain cases.
Yeah.
I think that's how you get in actually. And if you use it in parallel with ad revenue, now you're putting yourself in a different capability of revenue tiers, so you can do different stuff, and it gets interesting. So, that's kind of. I agree 1,000%. Though, you know, if you could do that, right? So.
Yeah. Well then, and so was there anything else that you would like to share with us about this project, Adosia?
No, I mean, we've got our head down. We're working. You know, we're gonna start having product token sale March 1st.
So you guys actually, what is your timeline? You think?
Well, I think we're going to start doing some private stuff. I think there's a misnomer. A video may say public sale, but I think we're going to kick off our private, or at least all our pre-sale activity in March.
Okay.
And then, you know, through April, we'll do, you know, kind of all the public stuff, and then wrap up the ICO, you know, at the end of April, and then I think, you know, I haven't banged out or finished banging out the contract yet, but I think we're going to end up distributing the coins as we go. If we do that, I want to have the hardware ready, but I'll have to figure that out because I've got some other servers there. But we're looking at, I would say, the ICO having it wrapped up.
I'm sorry, what was that last part? The ICO what?
Having it wrapped up by May.
Beautiful. Well, we are certainly looking forward to that. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Kyle. This is Kyle Solomon of Adosia. And, we certainly appreciate you sharing your time with us.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, my pleasure, sir. All right, and so it is with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this part of the show with a music break. And I'm feeling like, I don't know, man, ministry. We have not done any ministry. And so here we go, Rio Grande Blood. Thank you again, Kyle, and you have an excellent evening.
Well, yeah, just to wrap up real quick,
sure.
You know, just so people are clear, the mining that occurs on our hardware that we plan to occur is going to be to profit the end user, right?
Rock on.
So, I mean, there's a profit model there. So it's not just something that we're throwing out there. We will benefit from it, but the user will not benefit.
Well, as long as the user is the primary beneficiary of the unit hosted, I think that's the best way to go about it. Oh, and
sure.
I forgot to ask you if people would like to know more about Adosia, where would you recommend they go?
Well, they can just go to our website, adosia.com. You know, we've got our roadmap there, so
beautiful.
That's a good place to start. Read through the white paper if you want to get a good idea. It's light reading. You know, it's not all cracked with formulas and stuff like that. So
good stuff. And also, do you guys have any social media presence? Are you guys on like Twitter and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, our website is Adosia, ADOSIA.com, and then we've got a community page, and so you got to scroll all the way down and get to our community page. But yeah, we're on Telegram, we're on Twitter. I think Adosia.io on Twitter, Adosia Official on Telegram.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you again, Kyle.
I appreciate it, Frank.
You have an excellent evening, sir.
Okay, you too. All right.
All right, and it is with that we're going to go ahead and throw down some music here. Rio Grande Blood by Ministry here on Coin Metal. All right, beautiful, man.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, sir. Hopefully we didn't get people too far ahead of you now that you've revealed everything.
Oh, I revealed everything, man. I got mad fans.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear.
Well, I hope that was okay for you, man. Sorry, I was kind of getting a little brain dead towards the end, but you caught that.
It's my fault. I accept responsibility, sir.
It's all right.
No, man, I think you did fine. My only query was about the timeline of everything, because I heard the elements there, but like in your timeline, I think that's going to be really important. As far as like having your physical hardware out first, maybe before your ICO, or at least having product that you can actually ship.
Well, yeah, and that's why I say private sale, and so that's
Right.
kind of I've got another spin coming in, so I've got some boards that I could ship now, to be honest with you, but I decided to do another spin. So Chinese New Year, I think those are going into production on the 23rd, and I'll get them at the end of the month. So that it's not too unreasonable to say we could have something by March 1st, if not definitely I'd say April 1st, just to be safe. So.
Cool.
So anything that we do would be a pre-order.
Nice.
So. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna take off. That's cool.
Yeah, that's fine, man. I got to get kind of organized for the rest of the show here.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and I'd love to come back whenever you want.
Well, hey, man, when you guys get like done with your token sale or whatever, I'd be really interested in having you back on at that point.
When we start our token sale, or in May?
Oh, after you've started your token sale or something like that. Just like further on down the road. Get like a progress report and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, cool. We'll keep you updated, and we'll go from there.
Beautiful, man. You have a good night.
All right. Thanks, Frank. You too, buddy. All right. Bye.
Bye. And that was Megadeth with The Threat Is Real. And right before that, we had a little bit of Machine Head on. That was a little bit older Machine Head, but apparently they are currently touring in support of their recent release, Catharsis. My latest update on that was that apparently the lead singer had a severe lung infection, and so they'd had to cancel a show. But honestly, I got to say hats off to Rob for bowing out, because it's like, to me it says that he wants to put on the best performance that he can, and that he's not so, chasing after the dollar bill, that, he's willing to go out there and give you less than 100%. I think that's kind of commendable. Hopefully he's back on the mend and out there and touring now. But, these things take time. I've dealt with a lung infection, and it sucked. I was down for a solid month. I definitely wasn't doing the show. But that was actually what made me stop doing the show the first time. Was I ended up with basically pneumonia. I ended up getting hospitalized twice over it, and but I got back on the mend, and here I am again. So yeah, hopefully we will see Rob back out there in support of, or Rob and crew. My apologies to the rest of Machine Head there. But yeah, hopefully they will be back up and running to finish out that tour in support of Catharsis. I haven't yet purchased the album. It is on my list of music to be checking out for possible purchase and inclusion into the repertoire. Anyway, I want to start off this one, the rest of the show with this one little thing here. This is on Fortune magazine, and let's see, when was the author date? This is by Chris Morris, authored February 19th, so today of 2018. Someone just bought $400 million worth of Bitcoin. The highest roller in Las Vegas is nothing on Bitcoin's latest investor. An anonymous trader has sunk $400 million, enough to buy New York State's most expensive home twice, with change left over, into the cryptocurrency, raising his or her stake from 55,000 coins to more than 96,000 coins between February 9th and February 12th, and that buy-in is already paying substantial returns. Absolutely, I gotta say. The bulk of the purchases took place on February 9th, with another 9,000 or so on February 12th. And even if the buyer bought at the day's peak, he, she, or it is looking at total gains so far of roughly $83 million. The current value of the buyer's portfolio currently stands at nearly $1.1 billion. Whoever the investor was, it wasn't his or her first time plunking down a lot of cash on Bitcoin. Their account was largely dormant between December 12th, when it went from holdings of 0.246 coins to 48,627 by the morning of December 13th. Bitcoin at the time was going for about $17,000, meaning a rough estimate of $827 million. What spurred these massive purchases, and who was the money behind it? It's difficult to say. The buyer could have believed that the cryptocurrency would keep climbing in December, then hit its bottom earlier this month when it traded for less than $6,000. It could be a corporate investor adding crypto to its holdings. Heck, it could be a shopping spree by the Winklevoss twins. It's not. Whoever it is, they've got guts aplenty. Bitcoin has rebounded nicely recently, climbing 50% in the past 2 weeks, but one economist has called the rise of the cryptocurrency's rate the, quote, biggest bubble in human history. Even the co-founder of Ethereum says investors should be cautious. Yeah, Ethereum, from what I understand, their network has been bogged down by all kinds of weird stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of appropriate for them to chime in at this point. But that's keenly interesting, don't you think? I mean, that somebody just says, hey, look at that, Bitcoin's $17,000. I think I'm going to throw down damn near $1 billion on it. Gosh, who could it be? Who has $1 billion that they could be affording to throw down on Bitcoin? I would imagine maybe R3 or, who else? Goldman Sachs, Berkshire Hathaway. There are a number of institutional investors that could easily afford to throw down that much change on Bitcoin at any one given time. I think it is interesting, especially considering the precipitous drop since then. I mean, this person, whoever it was, took it in the shorts, buying in at 17,000 and then watching it climb to 20,000, or maybe was that 17,000 post-op? Let's see here. Oh shit, no, that was beforehand. They bought 48,000 coins on December 13th. So they watched it hit 20 and hodled all the way down to 6. I mean, that's somebody who's interested in the long term. Pardon me. Maybe I should have recaffeinated too. But yeah, that's definitely somebody interested in the longer term perspective with regard to cryptocurrency and their holdings of it. I would not be surprised if this person is also significantly diversified throughout the crypto sphere. I mean, this kind of pattern, okay, 0.246 to 48,627. That is the pattern of somebody who is just starting into trading cryptocurrencies. I mean, everyone who I know of, shit, I did it. When I started, as a matter of fact, I have one of those interesting stories of found funds. Anyway, like I was saying, that's how people start. You put a little in, right? You test out the waters, you see how it works, and you say to yourself, okay, I can handle putting in the total amount right now that I intended on putting in originally. Because what it is they probably had that amount in, the 246, that was probably in there for, according to this, it was, the account was largely dormant when it was holdings. Okay, so previous to December 12th, it had only had almost a quarter of a Bitcoin in it. And then they threw this big chunk of change on December 13th. And so, like I said, this is somebody who, they reflected on the fact that they had an email notification from their Coinbase account, notifying them that their two-factor authentication or whatever, they had that in their email, right? And then they opened it up, on the 11th, they opened up their email and they saw this notification and they said, hey, you know what? I do have Bitcoin holdings. And look at how much they've gone up. Fuck, I better throw some more money on that. That's exactly what happened with this person. Anyway, back to my story and my surprise today. You're going to love this. So, back when I first started into crypto trading, I decided to do a little experiment. I started up, I think it was actually 5 cryptocurrency accounts in a very short period of time. And this is before there was any AML, CYK, cover your ass, whatever bullshit. And so the requirement for identification and whatnot was not there. And I started up an account with CEX.io. And I left it alone. That was the only account that I really didn't go back to and really manage. But I had an exchange account on Bittrex, on Cryptsy, on a few others. But basically, like, every exchange except for Bittrex and Sexy have gone down. And so, anyway, today I was instructing somebody on how to move some funds from one account to their Sexy account. And so I'm like, okay, well, fuck, the best way to do this would be go to Sexy and follow through their process, and then I could tell this person, like, point and click, from which point to go to get through this process of transacting the funds from a live wallet or another exchange account to their Sexy account. And so when I loaded up Sexy, I discovered that I had a username and a password already in there. And then I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I remember setting up this account. I wonder if I put anything in it. So, I set this account up so long ago. Again, there was not even the necessity for two-factor authentication or anything. It's been sitting dormant forever, right? So I log into this account, and it turns out I have Bitcoin on it. And not only do I have Bitcoin on it, I've had that account so long that I've also got Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold on it too. So, Frabjous Day, Kalukale. I just got to, just got some of Bitcoin that I'd completely forgotten about. That's the equivalent of that guy with mining with his fucking laptop and then throwing it in the garbage and mining through a goddamn landfill trying to find his old laptop. Fact is, kid, it was probably recycled and somebody else discovered the wallet and either deleted it or did something with it. But anyway, so yeah, that was my happy day story. I couldn't believe that it actually had money in it. I'm like, holy shit, just got some fucking Bitcoin in it. And it wasn't very much Bitcoin, but, it was enough for it to be a happy day. Basically my trading fee was free for a day or something. But yeah, so somebody bought a big-ass chunk of Bitcoin, so they're obviously anticipating that they will be recovering on their previous losses. And so, I wanted to get into this other subject, though, because, we did cover it with Kyle with regard to the intent for their model, for Adosia's model with regard to mining. And I find that to be a significant relief in contrast to what we're going to cover right now. This one is on coinjournal.net. 23% of organizations globally affected by crypto mining malware, says cybersecurity firm. And this is by Deanna Nio. I guess that's how to pronounce it. No indication of penis. This was authored on February 19th of 2018. Although with the name Diana, I would say no penis. Crypto mining malware is draining enterprises' CPU power, with an estimated 23% of organizations globally being affected by the CoinHive variant during January 2018, according to Checkpoint's latest Global Threat Impact Index. Researchers of the firm discovered 3 different variants of the crypto mining malware in its top 10 most prevalent threat, with CoinHive ranking first. Other crypto mining malware that made the list include JSE Coin, ranked 5th, and CryptoLoot, ranked 8th. The firm claims more than 1 in 5 organizations around the world have been affected by the CoinHive variant last month. Crypto mining malware refers to cybercriminals hijacking the victim's CPU or GPU power and existing resources to mine cryptocurrency. In the case of CoinHive, the implanted JavaScript uses great computational resources of the end user's machine, thus negatively affecting the performance of the system. Some crypto miners have been intentionally injected into several top websites, mostly media streaming and file sharing services. Since last week, media outlet Salon has been presenting visitors using an ad blocker with a pop-up window offering 2 options: disable the blocker or choose to suppress ads option, which the site explains, if selected, will allow Salon to use your unused computing power, according to Cyberscoop. Salon uses CoinHive to mine the cryptocurrency Monero. While some of the activity is legal and legitimate, the tools can be hacked to dominate more power and generate more revenue, using as much as 65% of the end user's CPU power. And on that point, I would like to say that's complete and utter bullshit. I've had that fucking shit cryptojack my computer, and it sucked up 97% of my fucking CPU power. I could tell because I couldn't do anything else. Continuing on, crypto mining malware is, quote, practically challenging to protect against as it often is hidden in websites, enabling hackers to use unsuspecting victims to tap into huge CPU resource that many enterprises have available, said Maya Horowitz, Threat Intelligence Group Manager at Checkpoint. Quote, over the past 3 months, crypto mining malware has steadily become an increasing threat to organizations as criminals have found it to be a lucrative revenue stream. The increasing popularity and value of cryptocurrencies have led to a significant increase in the distribution of crypto mining malware. Russian cybersecurity firm Kaspersky Lab reported last week that a vulnerability in the desktop version of Telegram's messaging app had been exploited to turn computers into crypto miners. The zero-day exploit was used to trick Telegram users into downloading malicious files, which would then be used to deliver crypto mining software and spyware. According to the firm, the vulnerability has been actively exploited since March 2017 to mine cryptocurrencies that include Monero and Zcash. Earlier this month, hackers infected thousands of websites, including ones run by US and UK government agencies, with crypto mining malware. The attack, noticed by security researcher Scott Helm, was pulled off by compromising a fairly popular plugin used by all the affected sites called BrowseAloud. BrowseAloud is a suite of accessibility and translation tools developed by UK firm TextHelp. The plugin was edited by attackers to embed a script that uses visitors' computers to mine Monero, according to Helm. And there you have it. Oh, yes. And Diana, definitely no penis. Yeah, there you have it. The choice. That is the big key here, kids. If your resources are being seized without your choice and utilized to mine a cryptocurrency, what then is the value proposition of that cryptocurrency? I mean, really, to me, these exploits being taken advantage of, we have no one but the NSA to thank for that one, I might add, because these CoinHive is actually a variant of one of the exploits that was unleashed on the public by the NSA and utilized by them in secret for, I believe it was about a decade before letting any of the hardware manufacturers know about it. Although I believe Intel had spotted the exploit, but I'm not entirely sure on that one, honestly. But there we have it. I think that this trend in mining, I think it's going to end soon. I mean, because this is costing people money. I mean, real money. You know, if your computer, if 30% of your system resources are mining somebody else's coin, or mining coin for somebody, and it's not you, and you're not benefiting from it, that's theft, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, the fact of the matter is that this is an issue that has yet to have been dealt with. For years now, fucking cell phone, like the Android-based cell phones, their system resources have been utilized for a wide variety of purposes that are not explicitly indicated in an app. Okay, like when you're reading through the end user agreement, there's all kinds of shit in there. And that has to stop. You know what I mean? Because people have been setting up their own little botnets on other people's devices for years now. And, you know, it's only after the stuff gets flagged, you know, after the use of it gets abused or whatever. But in the meantime, there's all kinds of tracking software in there that's keeping track of your use of your data and your use of your device and so on and so forth. You know, like Pandora is an excellent example of this. I hate Pandora for one reason. I mean, I love them for the most part, but I hate them for one reason and one reason only. They use my fucking camera and my microphone to spy on what I'm doing while I'm listening to their shit. And for all I know, while I'm not listening to their shit too. And they are using that to guide what ads to subliminally pump to my ass. And I know they do this because I'll be outside and I'll be digging and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I'm hearing ads for fucking Jerry's Home Improvement or some shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I find it annoying enough that the NSA does this shit, and here you are spying on my ass and trying to subliminally implant fucking ads to me. Fuck you. I find that very abusive of the relationship that I'm sharing with you. You know, it's like, if I'm not upvoting or downvoting a song, as far as I'm concerned, that should be the extent of your monitoring of what data that I'm providing. Okay? If I'm listening to your shit and, you know, I don't mute the ads or something like that, okay. You know, consider that tolerable annoyance or whatever. No big deal. But now, don't be trying to fucking target it to what I'm doing. Give me a fucking break. I'll tell you how successful that is. 0. I have never made a purchase based on the ideas that you're conveying. You know, it's like, if you're pumping a Jerry's ad at me, I don't run out and buy something from fucking Jerry's. And as a matter of fact, I don't view them any more favorably because they are specifically targeting me by buying ad space from you. That doesn't enhance the relationship between me and Jerry's. If anything, it makes me a little more resentful, honestly, because they're trying to use people that spy on me to pump ads to me. That to me is an abusive relationship. Okay? You're kind of breaching my trust. And that I find that to be the most offensive trend in all of fucking software and all of computing, is this idea that you get to treat me like a fucking lab rat by virtue of the fact that I bothered to download your shitware. Fuck you. If that's how you view me, fuck you. You should be happy that I'm using your shit. You should be happy that I'm recommending the use of your shit. You should not be looking at me like I'm some fucking lab rat, you know, 0.0001. No, 0.001. He made 3 references to us and we're going to make X amount of... Fuck you. Okay? Just make your shit better. If you make your shit better, I will use your shit more than other people's shit. And I will recommend your shit to more people. And then you will make more money. This whole idea that you get to make money on me on the in-between, where you're taking control of my microphone and you're taking control of my fucking my video camera on my device, and you're recording everything I do and recording everything I say, and then using that and saying, oh, you know, that fits into this category and that category, so we'll sell that data to this vendor here and that vendor over there, and we'll make some money off. Fuck you. You're no better than like 1984 then. Really. And as far as I'm concerned, there are far better uses of this technology than spying on one another and trying to utilize the data like that. And I know I'm barking into the fucking wind here, you know, because so many of you consider that like an absolutely necessary part of your business model, that you have to breach the trust between me and you need to abuse the trust between me and you've got to selfishly reward yourself on my back. I like I said, I find that to be a really offensive trend. You know, I like the days when, okay, I'm using your software, and based on how I use your software on networks and whatnot, and whatever data that you're accumulating in the background or whatever, for enhancing my gaming experience, okay, that's great. Now, if you're also using it to sell me more Pepsi, Okay, now we're starting to go off into the bushes with regard to my relationship to you. But that's just my perspective. And I'm hoping, I really am, that due to the choice nature of cryptocurrencies, that through which currencies we decide to use, that we have a little bit more say in that relationship. You know, where we're telling our the people that want to advertise to us, hey, you know what? I don't like what you're doing, and so I'm going to direct my revenue from you to somebody else. You know, I think that if we have a higher level of participation from the public, and this was something that I noted about Adosia that I really liked, was their willingness, or their factoring in public participation out, you know, people like me and you, our participation in the development of it. And I think that's a more organic approach than the, I don't know, prison guard prisoner relationship that we've had with a lot of software companies and hardware companies. And I mean, I look at the direction that Apple went, and Apple, as far as I'm concerned, everything that went to Linux could have gone to Apple. What they really had to do, and the thing they were completely unwilling to do, was make a decision between whether they wanted to be a hardware manufacturer or a software manufacturer. And now they're kind of enjoying a little bit of best of both worlds thing, where, you know, they can look over at Linux and everything that you're developing that's open source and whatnot, they get to pick and choose what they like of that. And then when you start getting too successful, they sue you and push you back out of it. You know, the point being that they're kind of playing the fence. And I think in the longer term, though, we're going to see that less and less of the development cycle is going to be configurable to them. It's going to drift further and further out of their grasp. And I think we've already seen that migration, but I think that it's going to become more pronounced over the next few years here, that they're going to see less and less of their market share. And, you know, that they're going to be seeing less and less of the market share with regard to personal computing and personal devices. And it'll be a fault of their own. You know, at this point, they still have the cool factor, and they still have the I've got it but you don't factor. But, you know, when the device that I have does everything that your device does, it doesn't matter that you have it and I don't. Because I really do have it. You just paid twice as much for it. That's all there is to it. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music here. And, you know, I've been kind of avoiding playing them because I only have one album of theirs, and I play it to death because, honestly, I do really love it. It was a product of one of those little offshoots in metal that a few bands were carried up with, but a lot of them didn't really stay around all that long. These guys actually have a half-decent length in their discography, and from what I understand, they're still running about. So here it is. A little bit of Cold Chamber for you here. Sway, here on Coin Metal. And that was Anthrax with Got the Time. And it is with that I'd like to go ahead and button up this episode. It's definitely been a lot of fun, especially having Kyle on. That was cool. As he said, you can find them on Telegram and also on Twitter. Yeah, look it up, Adosia sometime. And so, yeah, with that, thank you very, very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. You guys were nice and lively in the Telegram today. Might have picked up a few new friends. And so, yeah, we will be back again on Wednesday at the same bat time of 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know that this was pumped on Eastern Standard Time. I got to take into account this is an internationally broadcast show, so I can only account for what time zone I'm in typically, It's Pacific Standard Time. Although, if I ever do like a live feed from a concert or something like that, and it's in like a different time zone, I'll try and like arrange it properly. You know, we'll make exemptions where we possibly can. Anyway, I'd like to thank you again for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. You can find me on Twitter and in the Telegram channel for Verge Currency, and also on Facebook and in IRC. And so, until Wednesday, I want you all to trade safe. Do your homework. I mean, we're trying to help you out there on the show, but you know, it comes down to you and what you actually choose to pay attention to before you make your commits and your sells or your buys. And watch out for your own bunghole, because as much effort as I put toward it, I can't be there to save you from your own stupidity. So yeah, with that, I'd like to close it out with a last dance, and I hadn't actually selected anything. Fuck it, here it is, KMFDM, Last Dance, A Drug Against War. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent evening.